Look, I know there are tons of top games videos out there, but this one's different. I've spent countless hours playing platformers on my Switch, and I want to share some games that really stood out to me. Not just the obvious picks everyone talks about, but games that genuinely surprised me or gave me those just one more try moments we all love. These aren't necessarily the highest rated games, but they're the ones that kept me coming back for more. I picked up Spyro Reignited trilogy during a rough week at work, mostly out of nostalgia. You know how sometimes you revisit old games and they're not as good as you remember? This was different. The controls feel so much better now, the way Spyro moves and glides just clicks. Sure, I breezed through some levels pretty quickly, and yeah, sometimes the camera had me wrestling with it like an old N64 game. But there's something really special about rediscovering these worlds. I found myself staying up way too late hunting down every last gem. Not because I had to, but because exploring just felt right. So Planet of Lana wasn't even on my radar until a friend wouldn't shut up about it. Man, am I glad I listened. The first thing that hit me was how it reminded me of those beautiful animated films I grew up with. But it's not just pretty. The way you solve puzzles with your companion actually makes sense. It's not like those games where your AI partner just gets in the way. The whole experience is pretty short. I finished it over a weekend. But honestly, that might be why it stuck with me. No filler, just pure adventure that respects your time. I stumbled on Trinity Fusion during one of those late-night eShop browsing sessions. The screenshots look cool, but they don't really capture what makes it special. It's this weird mix of platforming and fighting that somehow works. Each version of your character plays differently enough that it keeps things fresh. Look, the story's a bit confusing, and yeah, you'll probably see the same enemies plenty of times, but there's this flow state you get into when everything clicks. Jumping, fighting, switching characters, it just feels awesome. Let me tell you about Neva, because this one caught me completely off guard. The whole character with animal companion thing has been done before, but something about this hit different. Maybe it's because my own dog was sitting next to me while I played, but the way you work together with this wolf cub just feels natural. The puzzles aren't going to melt your brain, and sometimes things move a bit slower than I'd like, but the whole experience just works. It's like reading a good book. You know where it's going, but you're happy to be along for the ride. Alto's Odyssey became my go-to game for decompressing after dealing with people all day. It's one of those endless runners, but calling it that doesn't really do it justice. You're basically sandboarding through these gorgeous landscapes, and everything, the visuals, the sound, the controls, just flows together perfectly. There's no big story or epic quest, but that's kind of the point. Sometimes you just want to zone out and chain together some sweet tricks without worrying about saving the world. Hey, quick pause here. If you're enjoying this look at some of Switch's finest games, hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Let me know in the comments which of these games you've played or are excited to try. Now, let's continue with our lineup. Here's the thing about Kirby Star Allies. It's probably not what hardcore platformer fans are looking for, and that's totally fine. I end up playing this most when friends or family are over. It's like the gaming equivalent of comfort food. You can't really fail, and that's by design. The real fun comes from messing around with different ability combinations and just goofing off with friends. No pressure, no stress, just pink puffball chaos. Perfect for those gaming sessions where you're more interested in chatting and laughing than being challenged. Ultimate Chicken Horse is absolute madness, and I mean that in the best way possible. Picture this, you're building a level together with friends, but everyone's trying to make it just barely possible while also making sure others can't complete it. The amount of shouting and laughing that happens when someone's carefully laid trap backfires is priceless. Fair warning though, it's not great if you're playing solo. This is definitely one of those the more the merrier games that really shines when you've got a group of slightly competitive friends together. Have a Nice Death really speaks to anyone who's ever dealt with office politics. Except here you're literally death drowning in paperwork. The gameplay loop is addictive. You die, you try again, you unlock new ways to deal with your unruly employees. The Switch version could run a bit smoother if I'm being honest, but the core game is so fun that I didn't mind too much. Each run feels different enough to keep things interesting, and the dark humor actually landed pretty well. It's like if your office job was an action game. Not gonna lie, Unlife took me a few tries to really get into. The art style is definitely unique. You'll either love it or hate it. What kept me playing was how it blends platforming with clever puzzles that actually make you think. The controls can be a bit finicky sometimes, and there were moments where I had to put it down out of frustration, but something about it kept pulling me back in. It tackles some pretty deep themes about life and death, but never in a way that feels preachy or heavy-handed. I was pretty skeptical when Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown was announced. Like, do we really need another Prince of Persia game? But after spending a few weeks with it, I get it now. The way you chain together moves feels so satisfying. Wall running into a jump, slowing down time to thread through some spikes, then landing a perfect counterattack. Yes, the story's a bit forgettable, and sometimes the frame rate takes a hit on Switch. But the core gameplay is so solid that I found myself replaying sections just to find smoother, more stylish ways to get through them.
The Russia bar, was it? Your life ends here.
Not if yours ends first.
Hey, let me know what you think about these games. Maybe you've played some and have a different take, or maybe something here caught your eye. Drop a comment, let's chat about it. See you in the next one.